How do we get the screen?
Iets Australisch is zo. Ja. De didgeridoo. Maar iedere weet het te maken.
There it is. Good morning, everybody. I believe most of you were yesterday there in the SPARQL workshop as well. Is there anyone that doesn't know anything about SPARQL here?
Very little.
Very little. Well, very little can be enough. But if you, Listeria works with the SPARQL query, so if you have no idea what SPARQL is, then you will probably get lost in the very first step.
So perhaps.
Who doesn't have any idea what Listeria is doing?
Wow.
Then I will start from the very start. This Listeria is a tool to create, driven by a SPARQL query, to create a table of information out of Wikidata. And yesterday in the workshop we saw that you can run a query and it will just put in that query screen some of the properties of an item or a few items that are connected. You can, for example, create a list of all people that have a certain profession and show their birth date and their place of birth. But you only get that for yourself in that screen. So for Wikipedia that is not really a big help. So they created a tool, Listeria called. The guy that is creating these tools, he likes to use funny names that often sound like a weird disease. So if you find more of this kind of names, they will come from the same guy that created an awful lot of very helpful tools. So we should this guy be very thankful. And this tool is actually, for Wikipedia, it is just a template that you put on a page or on a talk page. And you just give that the SPARQL query, you give it some parameters on what do you actually want to see from the properties, and in what order it is sorted. And then every 24 hours it will just run the SPARQL query, take the result and put that nicely for you in a wiki table on that page below it. So for the user that reads the page, it is just a table with data from, well, they don't even care where it came from, with data from Wikidata. The advantage is, if someone is adding stuff in Wikidata, extra items, or delete something, or add more properties to an existing item, within 24 hours, that will be on your page. The disadvantage is, if you want to make manual changes in the table, then after 24 hours, the manual changes are gone. So this is what I basically already told. What is it? Yeah, create a dynamic list out of Wikidata information. It's nothing more and nothing less. And of course, that table can be part of a page. You can make an article about, say, French paintings, and then have a lot of text about history of it, and then you can make somewhere a section with this is a list of all paintings by French painters in a certain period, for example. You have the SPARQL query, then you put that template in that section, and maybe there's text below it, and then only that section is updated every time by the Listeria script. And that script is running somewhere on the tool server, so you don't have to care for that basically. But this is basically how Listeria template works. The template is not called Listeria, but Wikidata list. I'm not sure if it is really called like that in every single language, especially in the languages that have different scripts. I can actually check myself, but if you go on Wikidata to the template Wikidata list, then you will definitely find how it is called in the language that you want to use. But on most languages that I've seen that name. And on the English one, I have the link provided there. Well, the first parameter is the SPARQL query. You might recognize it from the session of yesterday. Actually, I have to see what this query is doing exactly. It's showing something with, I think, with Dutch towns or something like that. Well, we will see later on. The next parameter is which columns do you want to show? Well, I want to show the article, the description, and then some properties. P131 is called place, and then I have P580, P582, P5625, and P18. The last one is an image. The section one will actually tell where in the list where it will make separate sections, and the thumb will tell how big the pictures will be. And then here you see the three dots. This will be overwritten by the Listeria bot. Well, that is indeed what will happen. And then there is another template, Wikidata list end. That is what you put yourself, but Listeria knows I will write actually in between this part. So everything that's below it, that is text that will really be saved. If you would put this on a page and you wait for 24 hours and the script is working correctly, the SPARQL script, and all the parameters are correct, then you should just get a table with the information. But when you just save the page, you will also see somewhere a link where you can actually manually run the script, because usually when you just put it, you don't want to wait 24 hours to see will it work or not. And if you press that link, then you actually will activate the tool server to just update your page. And then also you get the results. Well, what are the positive sides of this Listeria? Well, it will daily update your lists, so it's very dynamic. And if you put the page then on your watch list, then you see also that the page was updated if there was any change. So if something on Wikidata will change, then the page will change. If there were no changes in the last 24 hours, then the script will actually generate exactly the same text and it will not be seen as a change. But there are also some downsides. I already mentioned a few. One is you can only create one list per page. So if you want to have separate sections with separate Listeria scripts, that will not work, or at least not yet, maybe in the future, but right now it doesn't. It will only update every 24 hours, and I'm not even sure on what time of day that will happen, if that will happen on the same time of day for all the scripts, or so you have to wait 24 hours and then it will have updated. Of course you can always manually update it, but automatically it's only once a day. And there are communities that do not support this to be used in the Wikipedia workspace. I know that for the Dutch Wikipedia, if you put automatically generated list, someone will come and say we will delete that page because it's not freely editable, because it is a bot script that is reversing everything that other people changed. And yeah, you can say that's a good thing or a bad thing, but that's what's happening on the Dutch Wikipedia.
You said Wikipedia namespace, but you mean the main namespace?
The main namespace, yeah, you're right. But you can still use it in, for example, the top page or in your own namespace. And that's what I then suggest you to do if you want to work around these limitations. Just put something in your own namespace, it will update every 24 hours. And if you then leave after a month or a week or whatever, the table in my namespace is better than the one in the namespace. You just copy what Listeria created as wiki text. So the whole table, you just copy and replace it. And in that way you can semi-automatically keep something up to date. Then you have to work around it. There will probably also be smaller language communities where they will not care at all. Maybe they don't even notice that that could be a limitation, or they really don't care, and then you can just use it. So if you don't know, just try it out.
But the English Wikipedia supports it?
I have no idea because I'm not active on the English Wikipedia.
It's the most important, so we can do it there.
Is there anyone that knows?
I don't know.
No experience?
No Englishman here.
And one other thing that I already mentioned yesterday in the SPARQL query, I figured out that if the SPARQL query does not have something that is called item, then the whole Listeria script is not doing anything. So if you create a SPARQL query, you can name your variable anything you like, but Listeria really expect to have something that is called item, question mark item. So if you give it another name, then you will figure out that you get no results at all. So keep that in mind. Yesterday I said, for all these tools, actually just always use item because then it will always work. Okay, I created one example on the .talk page. Let me see, can I open that easily? Use a new user now. This is the code that we will already recognize, and because this is already there for a longer time, you will see that the wiki table is also below it, and then somewhere at the end you will get the wiki table end template, Wikidata list end, and we can just look at what the page looks like. This is the table that was created by that query. Now, the query itself is not that difficult. The table looks actually pretty nice. And this is a list of people that are buried in a cemetery somewhere here in the Netherlands that have a link on Wikidata. And if someone would be added to it because someone figures out, hey, this is also a famous person that was buried there, then it will automatically be added to the list. Here, this is all in Dutch, because I'm now on the Dutch Wikipedia. Here it says this list will be every now and then be updated by a bot. Manual changes will be deleted. There's a link to the Listeria bot on the tool server. And here in the end, there is an option, manually update the list. So if I press that, so in the bottom you can see waiting for the tools server. Now it has updated my table. And here it has a list to the bot status. Because sometimes you, especially if the SPARQL query has no results for some reason, or in all parameters you make a mistake, then you get no results, and then you start wondering, what did I do wrong? If you go to this page, that is the bot status page, then you can see actually for the language where you're working on, immediately NLWiki. For what reason you didn't get any results. This is a wiki that's hard to read, I'm afraid. This is then the list for the Catalan wiki. Well, there is one page where they just have no items. There are a few pages where they have no template, and a few pages that actually run okay.
Not a few, very many. The list is very long.
Yeah, this is the first 5, and there are way more that are working okay. And you can even see on what date and time the last update was. And I think if I go to the Dutch link, then I will see that I just updated one page myself manually. Well, I created an example myself that is giving an error for some reason, so we can actually make it work. There's an abuse filter warning. That's very funny actually. What does that mean?
That's serious.
Well, actually, I created this list on a Wikipedia page.
Okay.
And then someone started to complain. You are not allowed to do that. So I was already expecting that. And then they put it on the delete list for 14 days. But in those 14 days, I already took away part of it, and then someone else just moved everything in my namespace. And there it is running every day, but for some reason it is not allowed. But I only don't understand the error message in this case.
So it's probably some of the text that Listeria bot tries to
Yeah,
add.
that might be.
It's getting a warning in the abuse filter, so you won't see it there because it hasn't been able to save it.
Then it must be a link, but I would be surprised. But this was basically a list of all female skaters that took part in the Dutch championships, because I'm generating all these articles with the results and also articles for all the skaters. So I thought, well, then I'll also create a list.
You're trying to write on a user page called edu /nk instead of /.
This is a backslash, isn't it?
Yeah, but it should be a /.
Ah, okay, that might be the reason.
Yes.
Then the guy who moved it to the wrong namespace.
Yes.
And I never noticed that because I didn't really look for it anymore. So we actually should rename this page.
Yes.
But there is no renaming.
You're
on
not
this.
logged in.
Yeah, that's why. Okay, well, then I will, maybe I will solve that later today. But it's a good example to show, yeah, there is something wrong. And if we then look in this list, it will at least give you an idea in what area it is going wrong. Well, in this case, it's an abuse filter, and we don't know exactly why. But sometimes you get a more clearer message. Here it says there are no items. Probably I'm afraid then that the SPARQL query will have no clear results. And that's something that I can actually check. It might be that the SPARQL query is giving a timeout. I think that the SPARQL query starts and ends here. I can for sure copy it and go to query wikidata.org. Lexical error at line 2. Well, I think that is the reason that it also doesn't run in Listeria, because if the SPARQL query doesn't work, then Listeria cannot get any results as well. So that is the reason that it's in the error list. Might be right. I'll just delete everything here, put it back. No, this notepad is too smart. It might be if we just retype the whole query ourselves, then it will solve.
Can you just delete the first character?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's the first character.
It's just after
We
the
can,
colon.
we can also try to do that.
What does the star mean?
Good question.
Yeah, the star means, I don't know exactly, but
Just the line break from the first to the second line.
I think you mean the star here.
Oh,
This star actually means that we want to have anything that has a P31 or a P279 with this value, and the star then actually does something like also everything that is in the lower structure. Yesterday we were talking about a query, I want to have anything that is a plant, but a plant there were only 10 items, and there it was actually not correct that it was a plant because it was a type of plant that we actually wanted to put there, or we wanted to say it is a taxon and then the subtype is some type of plant. And with this kind of structure you can then find anything that is in the lower structure.
If you delete everything between the end of the first line and the question mark in the second
You
line,
mean
maybe.
like delete all the empty space.
something like this. We type this. So it comes.
Oh, you see now it's on line 3, so you might have to do that. You have to delete all the empty space under every line.
Yeah, probably.
But you can see that now the error is one line below, so you fix the second line.
Yeah.
Normally this doesn't happen, but occasionally it does.
Yeah, this probably was coming from a Unix environment.
Yeah.
Now it goes to line
Okay.
4. So we probably have to do it later. Like this. That's a great way to fill up the time.
On the other hand,
Solving problems is a
it's a real life example of what
It's-
it
Yeah,
is.
that's true, that's true.
it's good.
If it works in one go, then you didn't see a mistake. So
Yes.
it's the life of the program.
I don't feel stupid anymore.
One more delete.
Compiler should
It works.
Yay!
the compiler should correct this.
Yeah. So
So
if
that's just time out.
I would put back this query here, then there's a good chance that it will suddenly start to run. That might be an idea actually to do that.
Yes.
Very nice.
Yes.
That's their fan.
This is nice for the person that's doing the recent changes check, because I'm not logged in. So someone will pretty soon see, hey, there was a IP change, is that correct or not? So you can now say here, manually update, and maybe it will just update. Tool server is not very quick today, but
While we are waiting for this response, what can one do to encourage users to edit the Wikidata?
actually with this tool you cannot really do that. At least I don't see a way to do that. Unless, first of all, there is already somewhere written, that it's updated by a bot, but then you don't know where the bot is getting the data from if you don't know it. So you probably have to write something just before or after the table that the data comes from Wikidata, and that if people want to contribute to Wikidata, then that they're welcome. But yeah, I don't think that a lot of users will first of all understand what Wikidata is, and they will probably not get the message then. And the people that know how it works, they already knew it, so you don't have to invite them to edit Wikidata. They will recognize, oh, this is probably Listeria.
One should insist on village one to use Wikidata, perhaps once a week, a month.
Yeah. So I understand your question, but I'm afraid there is no good answer to it.
I recommend nearby service, and that impressed people who didn't know Wikidata. They can see which items around them, and then they can see where are missing labels and where are missing images and so on. And that's why it's functional on the smartphone and on the desktop, and you can see it. I'm not comfortable with that, but I think in the menu on the left side it's a link to the service.
On the Wikidata probably.
Yes, Wikidata. So in English it's nearby.
Yeah, nearby, here it is.
Yes.
Is it the website nearby?
Well, it's actually something on Wikidata,
Yes.
show nearby articles.
Yes. And it works from a smartphone and from desktop, and it impressed people often.
It actually works on all wikis, so you just go to special nearby,
Okay.
but
then-
depending on how many articles with coordinates that wiki you get different results.
Yeah, that's indeed the issue. You only see articles that have a location on them, because if there's no location on it, then they're never nearby. Actually, you would like to have all items that are actually nearby but are missing the locations, so you could add them.
And then there's a nice tool for structured data in Commons, ISA, and this impressed people to where they can give items to pictures, images, and files, and so on. And it's a really practical way to show how Wikidata can work. In workshops, people are impressed and use it very quick. So,
No problem. Well, the last slide already tells what we already saw. What if it doesn't work? Well, then we have the link to the bot status, so that we can actually see what's going on. Is anyone having a special ID? Maybe we can create query and create a Listeria page out of it somewhere?
Haarlem is actually celebrating its 747th birthday this
Yeah.
weekend, and maybe we could do a Listeria with all the images made from photos of Haarlem. Or is that possible?
Yeah. We can find at least all the Wikidata items with their images. We'll create a page in my users space. Let's see if they will allow it to do that when I'm not logged in. Not. Maybe they will see it. Or I think that they will actually not care in the end. First of all, I will just copy all this, because we are going to use most of it. Let's keep it in English table with items from Haarlem with an image. And there was a certain type of items that we wanted to see.
I noticed a category Haarlem photos.
Okay, now that we are going to find Wikidata items.
I'm not sure.
Well, I'm sure that we will only find Wikidata items.
No, I'm not sure,
So what we can, we can, for example, take all Haarlem parks or all Haarlem statues or all Haarlem streets with an image or,
streets with an image.
yeah, well,
Or all within a range.
it's nice one. Delete it from the characters. I will save this as a start, and then we will build up first the SPARQL query. Item is a street. 31. I don't know exactly what street is, but 131 is Haarlem. I also don't know exactly what Haarlem is, so we're going to look them up. Not the woman, but we want the street. I know in Holland every street has a Wikidata item, because 5 years ago there was, or 4 years ago there was one user that uploaded every single Dutch street with the geolocation, with the local city where it's in, and postal codes and stuff like that. For other countries, they might not be there yet. I have at home, or I actually had, I lost it, but I can find it back. I had a database with all Danish streets, so once every idea I can do this in Denmark maybe, but I still didn't find the time. But of course, if you just go to bigger cities, there are always some streets defined. Located in Haarlem. But for Dutch cities we will for sure find something, and we want to have them with an image. Creating image. So if there is no image, then we will skip them. I think, well, we still have 55 and 54 streets found. Oh, I think that's nice for a table. So this query we can just put here, okay. So this is the query. The columns, article and description is okay. The city we can leave, but it will be always Haarlem. And these we can take out. Now this should actually already give good results, I believe. Let's give it a try. Then you'll process the script. Wait for a minute. No, it's quick to do. And there we have a list of streets in Haarlem, or the description is only Straat in Haarlem. That was actually the first project that I did on Wikidata with Wikibot. Gives every street a description, street in town. And they're still there. Together with the images. Well, and if someone will add an image tomorrow, then there will be one more item in the list automatically in my user space. So this is basically what it is. It definitely is a nice tool for what I have used it before. Is the script was actually not created by me, but I was helping that guy. He created a list of all the restaurants that had the Dutch article that had a Michelin star. But most of the Wikidata items were just missing a lot of properties. So we were just adding them. We were using that list to find actually the blank cells. And I was today I will update that item, and then the next day we took another one.
I think it's a really good tool for quality improvements and so on.
Edo, can we also in the query add some external program, test, whatever? For example, I would like to extract some images and then only put in my table some images that would satisfy some criteria related to a process that I would have done.
No, because you can only fill that with what is the outcome of the SPARQL query.
And in the SPARQL query, there is no potential of introducing some
external data. No, as far as I know, you can only use what is on Wikidata or linked from Wikidata to comments for images.
Okay, that's okay.
Well, maybe in the future they will expand this kind of tools. You never know what will happen in 10 years.
Yeah.
10 years ago, we could not even imagine that we would have Wikidata. So the new times will always bring new possibilities. But for now, that will not be possible. This is basically what we have here is what you will normally use it for. And of course, you can, with these extra parameters, you can sometimes do some tricky things. But still, you get the outcome is always a table.
Yeah,
Read table that
you
is.
can always use it, read it by program.
Any other questions?
Can we have a look at the script again?
Yeah?
Query.
To the query here or in the...
Yeah, here.
Because you didn't understand the query itself, or?
No, I'm trying to understand what brings, like, what makes it, what are the parameters that makes this area work? Like,
Well, first of all, there's here the SPARQL equals, and then you get the whole SPARQL query that we just copied from the query
yeah,
tab. No, and the query just lists just items with where the item is a street, and the street is in Haarlem, and it does have an image. So that were the 54 items that we listed. Then here I say the columns that I want to see is the article name, the description from Wikidata, the value order P131, that is the town, and we call the label place, and I want to see the image. I can add more properties. I know the postal code is one, so I could add that somewhere in here, and then the next time it runs, it will just add one more column. And yeah, all these things are pretty default for me. So section, I actually don't know exactly what section is doing. But I'm also not a really experienced Listeria user. Usually I don't use Listeria in real life that much.
So this section would mean that it would make different subheadings per administrative unit, because that's 130 and 31. But since everything here is in Holland, it's in the same, so it won't be. But if we would run it all over the Netherlands, we would get one per each municipality.
I know that in Haarlem they might have all the sub areas in the town defined, so maybe if we add that, I think that is item 276. I think that's in here. Some sexual location, I think. Now we could add that as a sub-unit. No, we'll only get one reason, no, that's not good. Haarlem, yeah, location. There's only one where they put the location, that's a good one. Maybe if we do that for the city where I live, I'm quite sure that we have more streets with them. We do have location and an image. 132. Just replace the start of queries with a new query. No, it's not anymore from Haarlem, sorry for that. And then we make not the section by 131, but by 276, which is actually then the subunit in the town, in the area, or we call it wijk in Dutch. And then we update it. Let's see what we will get now. Indeed, here you see the subheading. This is one area in the town, and then you get here the city center and all the streets from the city center. And then you get SPARQL, that's actually another village. There's also one area. Motorfleet is one area. some images do not show that. So.
This is one query with 3 output sections, separate tables.
How do you mean output sections?
Now you get 5 Listeria outputs.
No, actually I put the heading on it because every street is part of the community Woerden, but inside the community Woerden there's also a location that tells if it's the city center or if it's in Molenvliet or Bloemenbuurt or etc. And I already know that for that town I added all these locations some years ago, so that's a nice example. And now I said I just want to have sections by wijk, by area. And here you see every section. And indeed all the ones are there. Yeah, the string provider is also there. Does that answer your question?
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Show the code, please, again.
Yeah.
Yes. And the section is the 276.
Yes, 276 is.
Okay, it's for the areas.
Yeah,
the streets.
in Wikidata it's
Yes.
P276 and P276 is location. Or, yeah.
Yes, okay, thank you. I wasn't
And for Haarlem, that location is never filled in,
Yeah.
or only for one street with an image. So yeah, and you get very lousy results. But that's what I said yesterday. If with SPARQL it's the same. If the data is lousy,
Yeah.
then the outcome of such a query is as well worthless. But the better the data gets, the better this kind of tools are going to produce outcome.
And without Listeria, you would put the section thing in the SPARQL query. Yes.
I can also add it now so that it will be.
Yes.
But yeah, because we already have that as a section.
Yes.
You can maybe keep it out of the table data. The same for the city Woerden that is now still here. Yeah, it's always Woerden.
Yes.
In this case, it doesn't make much sense to add it because it's always the same. But yeah.
I try to understand the schema from the template.
Yeah. Yeah, basically you learn it by just using it. Just try it.
Yes.
But this is basically the way it works. Take the template, start with a working SPARQL query, put it in there, make sure that these columns are what you want to see. Maybe use indeed this section if it helps. And just give it a go. So basically that's what it was about.
After this fallback, it says, the last,
I actually don't know.
it's just a loop. It's looking over the.
This template I just copied, and for some parameters it's clear what it is. So maybe that there are other users that know it, or maybe there's some documentation somewhere that will tell all the parameters.
You have to be aware also that this template is a little bit different on different language projects, and especially on Wikidata, it's more advanced.
I can imagine because Wikidata is totally different type of project.
Yeah.
What should we use?
What?
What should we use? Wikidata?
It depends on what you use it for.
Okay, it is the language.
No, well, if you want to put something in an article on a certain language, you will have to use that template. But if you're just interested in the results, I would recommend to use it on Wikidata.
One thing you can always do is just look at examples that others already created. So, where you can start is on the Wikidata and item of the template.
We use it in projects to find gaps. I work in a wiki project for politicians from the whole world, And we use the Listeria template to find the gaps in our edits.
So before, most of the time it's called Wikidata list, but sometimes they add something because of the grammar of the language, or sometimes language is unreadable for Europeans and we don't know what there is. But here you can find how it is called in a certain language, and then we were actually wondering for Wikidata. Is it also in this list?
Yes, to the right, down. Other sites.
Yeah,
No, down. There you go.
other sites, yeah, indeed. So you can also use it on Commons, and I can imagine that on Commons you get some extra parameters. Well, let's have a look at Commons. Then you just go to the template, then you go here to where used. What links here? And then basically not all namespaces, not all namespaces can be corrected. And then we just pick one. Recent deaths. Oh.
With images.
And then here we can just go to the source and see what they actually used. I see that here they also, in the preview, already gives part of the template. But here you see the Wikidata list with a Wikidata query. And here the query, they also use still WDQ, that is the old-fashioned way. 5 years ago, that was SPARQL didn't exist yet, and that was the way to retrieve data. You can forget about that actually. And think that in this case it doesn't even do anything because we have SPARQL query. So here we have a SPARQL query that's doing something. But I can imagine that you can use different kinds of parameters in a different project. But there are already a few hundred examples, and if you just go to some of them, you see, hey, this is something that I like to use as well. You just go to the code and see how they did it.
I think if you go back 2 steps, there are also pretty good documentation on each project.
That's possible. That's what you always hope for, at least.
One more back. There, yes.
There's here already indeed some documentation.
We'll explain all the parameters.
SPARQL or WDQ. What you can do with the query, with the columns. How you can sort it. How you can create sections.
I tried the WD edits parameter, but it doesn't seem to work. It was below.
Yes.
You mean this?
No,
WDQ
down.
or lower this?
Scrolling lower to the bottom. So,
There.
yeah,
Oh, the WD edits.
yes. Doesn't work.
Did you install the JavaScript?
No.
No, so it says you have to actually add a script to your user page as well, which will enable it.
Then it will work for you and other users that install that script. But random users that are just a reader will never have that script. So I'm not sure if that will solve your issue, or maybe only partly.
Small part.
But I think the good thing is, if you can directly edit Wikidata then from the table, then it might be a lot easier to just fill up the empty gaps, because you don't have to go to the Wikidata item, find the property, or maybe add a property, because you can then straightforward edit. So it might be worth a try. If it's not for the readers, it might be for yourself. Okay, other questions? Well, and I think that was the end of the workshop. If you have any questions coming up the rest of the day, then you can always ask. Or if you have questions after today, then you can always come to my user page and leave a message there. On the Dutch wiki and on Wikidata, I will usually see that within 24 hours.
Great.
Okay.